Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be the astro weather for the week of May 8th through May 15th. Those of you guys who are new to my channel, thanks for stopping by. Do me a favor and leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, or subscribe by clicking the button down below. Also consider checking out my memberships if you'd like to support my channel and you like my content. Everybody else who's regulars, who are members and subscribers, thank you guys for coming back. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you're surviving this eclipse season. Oh my gosh, guys, it's kicking my ass. But you know what? The show must go on. We've got a lot going on this week, more than just the impending lunar eclipse in Scorpio. We have also got Jupiter changing signs, a Mercury retrograde, and the Sun crossing the North Node in Taurus. So we have to do this video. Before I get into it, I also just want to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas, the baby mamas, the grandmothers, the dog moms, the pet moms, the stepmoms, you name it. If you're a mother, happy Mother's Day to you. So you guys know the drill. We're going to talk about the astrology for the week ahead. We're going to go day by day and talk about some of the most important aspects. Because it's such a crazy week, I have to tell you guys, there are videos also that are going to give you more information about some of these major transits. So when we have like a Mercury retrograde and an outer planet changing signs at the same time, it's kind of the universe's way of going like, hey, pay attention, also factored into an eclipse week. So this is going to be quite an active week for everyone. The week is going to kick off with May 8th, so that is today, and what we see happening today is the moon in Leo is coming up into a square with Uranus in Taurus, and also the sun in Taurus. So that moon in Leo, great day for Mother's Day, fun, lively, lots of creativity, lots of playtime, but it's coming into some friction with both the sun and also Uranus. So watch out for just emotional upheavals. There can be some conflict in terms of just adjustments, making changes, and just how we're adapting to things emotionally. There can be some emotional flare-ups that are happening today. Now tomorrow we're going to see that the moon continues in the sign of Leo, but it's going to come into an opposition with Saturn in Aquarius. So definitely I would say it can be a day where it's more difficult to emotionally relate, right? The moon talks a lot about how we share our feelings. The moon changes signs about every 2 to 3 days. And being in a solar sign of Leo, it's got a lot of like pizzazz, right? So Leo deals more with like the individual, children, creativity, playtime, drama. And when it opposes Saturn in Aquarius, we feel that separation. So I feel like those of us who can't see our loved ones, our moms, things like that, we're definitely really going to be feeling that longing for nurturing or for emotional connection. Not the easiest day to have heart-to-heart conversations. I've said this before, I'll say this again. When we have planets go through Leo, it is activating a grand fixed cross, right? We've got the North Node in Taurus helping us build a more solid, stable future. South Node's in Scorpio, we're letting go and releasing pain and trauma. We've got Uranus in Taurus, totally shifting and kind of changing up our value system, our preferences, our finances. And when planets go into Leo, it orchestrates this grand fixed cross where we really feel change happen. Now in fixed signs, they don't like change. They don't do well with these shifts. So we definitely feel a little bit of like grinding of the gears, feeling it very much Sunday, today, and into Monday. So just be mindful that this is really helping us all change and adapt to new circumstances basically in our lives. I, for one, have been really tracking when the moon goes through Leo, where there's like pushback in my life, where I'm feeling uncomfortable with something, and just learning that I use those days to kind of make lemonade. So if you're feeling a little grumpy Sunday and Monday, now you know why. Now things get interesting on Tuesday the 10th. Why? Mercury retrograde begins in the mutable air sign of Gemini. Now, I did a video on this. If you guys want to check it out, I talk about why this retrograde is different and why it's very powerful with its connections to Pluto. But I can just only say this one is significant. All of the retrogrades this year, they start in air signs, which is kind of like loosey-goosey. information, sharing information, going back and forth. And as Mercury retrogrades each time this year, it'll drop into an earth sign where it becomes practical, stable, and it gives us the opportunity to restructure something, to perfect or tweak things physically. So it starts off with like ideas and it shifts into like building zone and gives us the opportunity to orchestrate real change in our lives. Loving the trines to Pluto. I think it's going to be really important in helping us kind of re-strategize where we're putting our power, what direction we're going in, and what we're building towards in the future. Now, this same day, we're also going to see that Jupiter enters into the cardinal fire sign of Aries. Oh boy. Tuesday is the day to watch. Like I said, when there's two big planetary transits at the same time, there's definitely something going on in the cosmos. Now, I did a video talking about how Jupiter going into Aries is really going to bring fresh, brand new energy. But really, I can only sum it up by saying it's going to give us the courage to grow in a specific area of our life. Now, Aries has no problem going after a goal, setting out to achieve something, going out on its own and being super courageous and fearless and really rising to the occasion of a challenge. Now, in the sign Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, this is really reiterating personal growth, personal knowledge, development, expansion, whether that's in fitness, actual travel, teaching ourselves something new, adding new tools to our toolboxes. I'm very excited for this energy. You know, I thought all along that it wouldn't really feel like 2022 started until about May. So here we are, and now there's all of these shifts that are going on. And I think that this Jupiter transit is interesting because it's wrapping up a 12-year period, right? We have not seen this transit since, I think, when was that? 2011, I think. So, you know, it's been quite some time since we've had this transit into Aries. When it happened last, we actually had Uranus in Aries as well. So it was extra action-packed, more so than usual. But take a look at where Aries is in your chart. Jupiter moving in there is going to give you a fresh new start. It's going to allow you to really reflect on your own personal growth. Things that are initiated and started during this period are really significant, especially over the next couple of weeks as Mars ingresses into Aries pretty soon. Seems like it's taking forever to get through Pisces, but once Mars gets there, we're going to be starting new things in June, just after the eclipses and the retrograde are over. Now, I'd like to read you guys the Sabian symbol for the very first degree of the Zodiac, so 0 or 1 degrees of Aries, because I think that it might shine a little bit of a light on where we're going. Those of you guys who don't know, obviously there's 12 signs to the Zodiac. There are 0 through 29 degrees, which makes up all 360 degrees of the chart. So I'm working with the Sabian symbols, my handy dandy book, to talk a little bit about some of the symbolism to this particular degree. So this is the very first degree of the Zodiac. This is where we start fresh and brand new. A woman rises out of water. A seal rises and embraces her. The keyword is realization. The theme, the way to begin is to begin. The symbol speaks to birth, emergence, and taking the first faltering and naive steps on any journey. It also speaks to stirring from within that signals a realization of potential and the possibilities of growth. The image of a woman rises out of water and the seal rises to embrace her depicts the feminine, emotional, and receptive or passive side of a man embraced by the masculine, purposeful and initiating or active side of himself. This image also symbolizes the human spirit embraced by desire. The emphasis here is on the achievement of self-integration or the mystical union of all elements of the self. On a practical level, this image represents the first degree of the Zodiac and thus spring, the beginning of a new cycle and freedom of choice. It also marks the starting point of the journey of self-discovery. At its highest, the symbol speaks to independence, initiative, and openness to new experiences. Watch for willfulness or lack of discrimination. The accent is on change and new beginnings. You may be feeling bored, restless, or lonely, or that something is missing in your life. Adventure beckons like a sweet scent of lilacs on a gentle spring wind. The novel and different have a special allure. I mean, this reminds me of like the Fool card, right? Like, or the Magician, depending on how you look at it. And really this brand new energy that's going to come in. And Aries energy doesn't knock at the front door and ask if it can like arrive, right? Spring doesn't ask if it can show up. The frost melts, the flowers just start blooming, all the animals come out, there's new life. So really take advantage of this energy. It's going to benefit everyone. Take a look at where Aries is in your chart. There's a fresh, brand new start that's being set up here. Maybe you got little faint glimmers of it during Aries season, during the new moon perhaps, or when the sun was going through Aries in general. Now we're going to start to see the excitement and I think a little bit more pep in our step. Jupiter in Aries, I said it's going to give us a little bit more of a sense of confidence, and we're definitely going to see some inflated egos. We're going to see some people that are really kind of feeling themselves, especially Aries, sun, moon, and risings, especially also the fire signs are going to benefit from this as well. But I think it's going to kind of give us some energy that we're really lacking, right? We've still got a lot of planets that are in earth signs. We've got a lot of planets that are in water signs currently. It's going to be nice to see this ingress of Jupiter moving into Aries and really livening things up and giving us a very exciting kind of storyline that's getting ready to unfold. So you want more about that? Check out my video that I do on Jupiter in Aries. Now, like I said, the same day on the 10th, Mercury retrograde is going to begin. You have to live under a rock to not feel the shadow. I have to tell you, the shadow period is like not messing around. I have not seen a gnarly shadow period like this in some time. And I think the purpose that it's really doing what it's doing is because it's trying to reenact some of the eclipse degrees that we've had recently, both in the fall of 2021 and also this eclipse that we're getting ready to have here in another couple of days. That particular retrograde will retrograde back into Taurus, trine Pluto, get us thinking really seriously about building something solid for the future. In order to do that, we have to get our priorities straight. We have to be really kind of thinking and kind of mapping and planning everything out, right? Everything that Taurus does, there is a system, there is a process, there is a sense of putting one brick in front of the other and kind of building some structure or creating something that's really stable and sound. So I think with the trines that it's making to Pluto, it's really telling us that we have to be really thinking about our long-term goals, our long-term direction with where we're going with our own personal desires. Desires is a word that comes up a lot with Pluto in Capricorn. The same usual rules apply. You know, I'm not one of those astrologers who's going to tell people, don't sign the lease, don't do this, don't do that, just because it's a Mercury retrograde. However, Mercury is what rules Gemini, okay? And Gemini is things like your neighbors, your leases, switching apartments, buying cars, leasing cars, buying a new laptop, a computer, a phone, right? These are all Gemini things. So you want to be cautious and careful, making sure that, you know, do you really want to make this purchase? If you're buying the home system, are you getting the, extended warranty in case something breaks down? Are you reading the fine print on the lease? We do that anyway during a Mercury retrograde. But during this one in particular, these topics are going to be hot topics. I would say we've already, been in the shadow for some time. Some of us have already seen the cards breaking down, the issues with the roommates. We've realized that we need to move or that the lease is up and we didn't have any notice. So we can use the retrograde to return, rework, review, or renew something. That's what we want to do during a retrograde. I really like this retrograde because it's activating eclipse points. I like this retrograde also because it's kind of moving from the very scattered air, mutable energy of Gemini back to Taurus, which is going to be really taking its time and looking through things thoroughly and like processing and planning. So if you're feeling a little haywire, the retrograde might stabilize you a little bit. And it's going to reiterate whatever you were building or working on last fall, right around November 19th. So it's going to be activating those same degrees. In that retrograde video, I talk a lot about how it's retrograding to conjunct that point while it's opposing that 26, 27 degree eclipse point that we're getting ready to have in Scorpio. Taurus says, make it real, build it, make it solid, give it life. Scorpio says, merge, change, transform, release, and let go. This eclipse that's coming, guys, is a gnarly one, okay? The theme in the lesson is literally letting go. That's what we're all learning. We have to let go of something. And when we're experiencing eclipses, there are doors that open and close for good. We are in like this kind of karmic vortex. We're in a wormhole right now where everything happening in the 2 weeks in between is like fair game. We see relationships end, we see babies being born, we see people get together, we see jobs end. All kinds of things are being rearranged right now. This eclipse is going to be squaring Saturn. So the real lesson of this is that we have to release something in order to embrace where we're going in the future. Our new life, right? Where we're going with our new life, what we're manifesting, these higher vibrations, is going to cost us our old life. So everybody across the board is going to realize that we suddenly have to let go and make sacrifices in order to rise up. It's uncomfortable, it's emotional, especially because it's going to be a lunar eclipse. Unlike the very action-oriented solar eclipse that we had in Taurus, this one is going to have everybody in their feelings. So take it easy on yourself, stay hydrated, be mindful as the week goes on that this energy is going to build, and use the Mercury retrograde to the best of your abilities to be able to receive those messages from Pluto to structure and kind of plan where you're going so you feel like you have more control in your life physically, okay? Now, on the 11th, we're going to see that the moon in Virgo comes into an opposition with both Mars and Neptune in Pisces. So this is a little wonky. It's like, which end is up? Where are we going? The positive thing is that we are seeing trines from the moon in Virgo to the sun and also the north node in Taurus. So when in doubt, ground it out, right? Go put your feet in the dirt, eat a really healthy grounding meal, hug a tree, do some yoga, do a face mask, anything that you can do to just really kind of connect to the elements of earth. If you're a crystal person, do that. If you're a gardener, if you're into cooking, anything like that, that's going to make you feel like you're in your body is going to help you make sense of this energy. Now, whenever we see the moon in Virgo, we have to pay better attention to our health, our wellness, sometimes our pets. We can be a little bit more accident prone. With this moon in opposition to Mars and Neptune, can have some people feeling under the weather, okay? I really want to reiterate this. There can be, with that Mars-Neptune conjunction setting up, fevers, allergies, digestional issues, people who are being really affected by some of the vibrational changes that are going on out there. Just take it easy on yourselves and really focus on grounding out your energy. It would not surprise me if people are having some really weird, like allergic reactions, or perhaps even just waves of people who are not really feeling well and are just emotionally or physically under the weather. Part of that's because Mars is heating up, coming into conjunction with Neptune. Hot liquids can be helpful, hot saunas, soaking, things like that, and staying hydrated if you're kind of feeling that under the weather a bit. Now, something else that we're going to notice on the 11th is that as the moon gets up there in degrees for Virgo, it's going to trine Pluto as well. So we've got like a grand Earth trine setting up, you know, sometime between the 11th and the 12th, and these are some of the better days for, you know, kind of getting organized, getting clean, getting work done. Obviously, we don't want to overdo it with that moon opposition to Mars and Neptune. Really feel your feelings intuitively, like if your body's telling you to slow down and take a rest, take a rest. There can also be just some really wackadoodle dreams and things that are going on with this opposition as well. Now, on the 12th, we're going to see that the sun in Taurus comes into conjunction with the north node of the moon at 22 degrees. The question I have for you is, what kind of a life are you building? Okay, 22 equates to like a Capricorn energy, so it's about solid structure, the future, rising to the top of something, responsibility, career goals perhaps, and authority. And when it comes into conjunction with the north node of the moon, I don't talk about this a lot, but the nodes are not necessarily planets. Some Vedic astrologers may see them as such. They call them invisible planets, but you know, the nodes are calculations that are based off of the moon. So they're very sensitive points. Now that north node is very mysterious. We don't know where it's going. We don't know what's going to materialize. We don't know what's coming. We just know that it's ushering us into the future. And it is a very sensitive point that deals with emotional connections, faded connections, right? The moon is women, mothers, family, our home, our internal private world, right? Our intuition even. So this day in particular, I want you to pay attention. I think it's setting up really on the 11th when the moon is making trines from Virgo, but you're going to see the exact conjunction happening on May the 12th. So that sun on the north node, what does the sun do? It highlights, it brings attention, it brings joy, action, some kind of physical manifestation, right? And it can deal with power, it can deal with energy, it can deal with warmth. But in the sign of Taurus, it's about beauty, security, nourishing food, our bodies, the earth. And being that it's at 22 makes me feel like there's something that's going on the 12th that deals with money, resources, power, control, what's going on with the government, what's going on with federal spending, what's going on with increases in anything in regards to the Fed. Pay attention to this, guys. This is going to be a day where financial stuff is starting up just before the eclipse. Now, on a personal level, I think it's really important to be conscious and aware of the life that you're building. How does your body feel? Where are you living? Do you enjoy your surroundings? Do you have enough security and stability? Are you eating nourishing food? How is your throat chakra? How is your environment? How is your self-esteem, right? These are all things that we really want to be focusing on. And what I love about Taurus, and where Taurus is very different than Libra, while both are ruled by Venus, Taurus wants to simplify, Taurus wants natural, Taurus wants easy, and it wants something that is pure. This is also about our own personal talent. So I want you guys to pay attention to what you're nurturing, right? What you're taking care of. What are you building for in the future? Are there new ways of making money? Are there new talents or tools that you're developing so that way you can bring more stability or security? Are you learning to plant a garden? Are you learning to grow your own food and cook your own food or harvest your own food? And what are you doing with your money and your resources? So this is something that I want you guys to pay attention to on this day. Now, I want to read you the Sabian symbol for that as well. So we're going to read actually 23 degrees because we round up. And so 23 degrees of Taurus, a jewelry shop. The keyword is preservation, all that glitters. The symbol speaks to practical or material values and to a man's desire to own and possess those things that affirm or validate his personal concept of who he is. The image of a luxury jewelry shop full of precious gems and minerals emphasizes luxury, wealth, and beauty. Jewelry is used to commemorate special events such as engagements, coronations, graduations, and weddings. Thus, it alludes to achievement, accomplishment, and a special status. It also symbolizes aspiration, romance, and reward. At its highest, this represents wealth, at the lower sign of a higher mastery of values, and a unique talent for creating beauty through imaginative enhancements of the ordinary. Watch for greed and materialism, bad taste, gaudy, or over-adornment. The accent is on possessions. You may be tempted to overspend or be extravagant with your resources. A change in status is indicated. Your greatest advantage lies in focusing on quality. Work for and expect the best that can be achieved. Guard against excess or losing something of value by taking more than what you need. Don't bite off more than you can chew. I don't really think this is so much about things, but the emphasis that we put on material things and our value system and what we actually find valuable, right? So everybody's value systems are changing. The world is a bit of a crazy place right now, just with what's going on with inflation, what's happening with prices of food and homes, and just everything seems to be adding up right now. And I think for many of us, it's giving us the opportunity to really reevaluate, like, do we need these things, right? Do we need these things? I guess that's at least how it's been affecting me. I've been kind of looking around going like, well, how hard do we have to work to be able to maintain a lifestyle that we're just maintaining because we want to keep up with the Joneses? Like, what would we or what could we cut back on that would alleviate some of the financial stress and pressure so that way we can feel like we can actually enjoy life and live life and not be feeling like we have to be grinding day in and day out? Is it worth the price of what we're actually, the life that we're actually living? And I think a lot of people are going to start thinking very differently about this, especially as we continue to see some wild changes economically and with what's going on in the markets. Now, this same day, The moon in Libra will come into an opposition with Jupiter in Aries and also Venus in Aries. And I'm watching this Venus-Chiron conjunction getting ready to start. That's one of the videos that I'm going to be doing for you guys this week. I want to talk about that. I feel like the moon in opposition to Venus, and as Venus is getting closer to Chiron, is also an indication that there is going to be major shifts either in relationships and relationship values, where we've got people who are not really on the same page about what they value, and people who are wishing that they had more of something in their relationship, less things, more actual physical connection, emotional connection, and feeling like that something is far away from us, right? When the moon is in opposition to Venus, it makes us needy. So I think we're going to feel that, and we're going to feel the pain of separation, isolation, not being able to get what we need physically or emotionally from other people. Venus is in Aries, so Venus is transiting a Mars-related sign, and it definitely is a little uncomfortable for Venus. It's a little bit more aggressive, and it's definitely a little bit more impulsive and a little bit more personal. So I think that we can be noticing people are acting a little bit more selfishly than they should, and they're not as selfless as they could be, right? Especially in relationship to other people. Watch for that, because if you have any major cardinal placement, like let's say, about 10 to 16 degrees of, obviously Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, you're going to feel that square. And the conjunction is going to really heat up later in the week. Now, on the 13th, we've got a Friday the 13th, okay, all right. Hopefully you guys are watching your horror movies. Venus is going to begin to conjunct Chiron and Aries, so it'll be felt very strongly from Friday the 13th all the way through May the 16th. Now, as Venus comes into conjunction with Chiron, I guess the good news is, the big headliner is, there is room for healing, right? Venus opens up, and it allows us to receive, it allows us to exchange. But as Venus comes into conjunction with Chiron, there can be a need to rip off the Band-Aid and actually heal something. On a personal level in Aries, but it can also be about our own personal wounds with whether or not we're loving ourselves appropriately, healing ourselves appropriately, whether or not we're feeling like we're able to heal a situation from the past, especially in regards to relationships. Still watching that moon in Libra make its opposition. So there can be like lots of issues in relationships because we're not healing our own issues. We're not healing our own wounds. So I encourage you guys to stay open, especially if you have Aries placements. So if you have like a sun, moon, or rising right around like 12 to 15 degrees, or if your own personal Venus happens to be around those degrees, the events that transpire with this transit are going to be painful, but it's to open your eyes and make you realize that you need to heal something. As Venus comes into conjunction with Chiron, she can heal Chiron's wounds. She can bandage him up. She can give him kisses. She can kiss him on the forehead. This is a wonderful day to be getting like scalp massages, haircuts, anything in regards to the sinuses, the nose, the face, like face massages, temple massages, head massages. It'll be all really helpful for kind of releasing and like letting go of that energy. Also, if you've been dealing with injuries that have to do with the blood, or have to do with the reproductive system, or have to do with like migraines, headaches, bumps, bruises, concussions, there can be healing that can come from these particular transits. So let me know. I'm actually curious. Is there anybody who's going through a Chiron transit there right now? And have you been trying to kind of get healed? And are you starting to feel better throughout the week as Venus comes through here? Let me know. I've seen a lot of people who have had issues with migraines or car accidents or hitting their head or concussions and things like that, that as the Venus transit moves through, it actually helps them heal. So those of you guys who are in the process of that, I hope you're feeling better. Then on the 14th, we're going to see the moon enter into Scorpio. So we're beginning to feel the lunar eclipse. So as soon as the moon leaves Libra and it goes into Scorpio, y'all are going to feel it. Trust me on this, because the moon's going to quincunx Jupiter, and then it's going to start to quincunx Venus. And Venus is important because we are in a Taurus season. So a little uncomfortable having Venus 12 signs away from the sun, also being in a cardinal sign of Aries. I think it's fair to say that Venus is not entirely thrilled right? Especially in the midst of the eclipse, and the fact that Venus will be conjunct Chiron. I mean, that's going to be just really packing a punch. In the weeks ahead, though, Venus will move into Taurus, and we are going to see that there is room for healing and growth, and we're going to get back into a much more comfortable kind of Venus mansion, so don't worry. But as that moon moves into Scorpio, we begin to feel the eclipse coming on. The truth is, we're already feeling it now. We feel eclipses several weeks before they begin. And because we're coming off of a solar eclipse in Taurus, we're starting to see the pieces of like what it is that we're clearing out and what we're letting go of. Scorpio's crisis, right? It's ruled naturally by Pluto and also by Mars. So these are planets that deal with cutting, severing, purging, death, sex, regeneration. And so we're all going to be feeling like, oh, change is coming as soon as the moon goes into Scorpio. So take it easy this weekend. You know, like I said, it'll be the late hours of Friday night, early Saturday morning that this shift is going to happen, especially if you have any major events going on this weekend. You know, I've said this in my eclipse videos, but events happening within 3 days or so of eclipses usually are fated. So in some ways it was already kind of set in the stars, but you want to be mindful and be careful with a Scorpio moon like this, especially anything pertaining to like surgical procedures or anything where you're cutting or severing. I've heard a lot of people are telling me they're detoxing, they're purging, they're sick, they're having digestional issues already, they're clearing things out. Elimination is what Scorpio rules. So for some of us, there can be some really unpleasant kind of effects that come with this particular eclipse. Now, the eclipse is going to be taking place, at least here on Pacific time, at some point on Sunday the 15th. And this eclipse that's going to be happening is going to make some pretty gnarly aspects. So it's a full moon lunar eclipse. We're wrapping up things we've been working on for the last 6 months since that new moon in Scorpio in the fall of 2021. The lunar eclipses are very emotional. There is very emotional, dramatic kind of finales and endings and things that can catch us off guard that we don't see coming. And it's also building off of the intensity of what we've been working on for the last 2 weeks since we had that solar eclipse in Taurus. Now, this particular eclipse is going to be gnarly because it's going to be in a square to Saturn in Aquarius. And Saturn in Aquarius is holding the flame high, saying, we need to move into the future. We need to think collectively. We need to focus on solutions that's involving equality, that's allowing us to progress forward and be more independent. But Saturn is also, at least here on Earth, it deals with boundaries, limitations, borders. In traditional astrology, it was seen as Pluto. So it does have this tinge of ending and releasing and death and letting go to it. So as it squares that eclipse in Scorpio, it's for the most part going to be pretty much a financial eclipse. You know, when we're seeing all of these T-squares that are setting up in the fixed signs, it is talking about global changes and global limitations and setbacks and having to sever or cut things and how it's going to affect the collective. Now, it is a South Node eclipse, so we are purging, releasing, letting go of the past, letting go of past life karma, letting go of the stories that we've always told ourselves about that life needs to be hard or scary or painful, that we're always going to lose or that we're never going to have enough. So with this eclipse, some of the release points will definitely be like the trine that the moon is making to Mars and Neptune, which is allowing us to be emotional, purge, release, and let go. Working with water magic, going to the spa, soaking, crying, anything that involves water to help us purge and release, and almost like using that element as like lubrication to go through that process, right? But basically the eclipse square Saturn is telling us, like I said, that we need to step into our future life now. Now it's time to say goodbye to the past. It's time to say hello to the future. We have to close certain doors. It is scary. It will be painful for some of us, but it is also going to give us the opportunity to segue and move into the life that we are here to live. So Saturn in Aquarius is really kind of showing us, hey, the future is going to be different and it is going to be more united and there is going to be more freedom. There is going to be a need to adapt and it's going to be very unusual. So, you know, try to combat fear, try to breathe into some of these changes. Remind yourself that while some of these endings, these changes can be scary, there is a bigger picture, you know, involved here. Like there is a better place that we are going. We just have to get over this hump. I'm also liking that the sun in Taurus during this eclipse is sextiling Neptune in Pisces, and it's also making a sextile to Mars. So that whole Mars-Neptune is flushing our bodies with water. It's angry tears, unfortunately. It's hot showers and steams. It's things that's giving us the ability to be, I think, like warriors for peace, right? Mars and Neptune is very like warriors for peace, being able to cut and sever things that don't make us feel good or make us feel isolated. We may need more time alone during this eclipse. We may need more privacy. There may be a sense of us really needing to process and go through things on our own time. So be mindful that if you're getting that feeling of like, oh, I just need to be in bed, I need to process this, I need to be alone, I just need to kind of check out and to be in nature, give yourself that time to be able to do it, okay? So that's the week ahead. Like I said, there is an eclipse video out there. There's a Jupiter video. There's a Mercury retro video. If you guys want to go deeper into this and understand piece by piece how it's affecting each and every one of the 12 signs, check it out. I guess I don't even know what we're going to call this video. I'm probably going to call it Change is Calling because that's definitely what the week is going to be about. And I encourage you guys to be brave, embrace some of these changes that are coming. Just some stuff that's coming up this week on the channel. We've got live astrology this Saturday. So if you guys have questions, you want to do a live astrology reading on my channel, I'll be here 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. You can sign up for my memberships if you want to cash in on your reading. Also, do consider signing up for my newsletter. I'll plug my website down below, beyondtheveiltarot.com. If you go on my website, sign up for my newsletter. I won't spam you. It's purely just for my classes. Now, I just finished teaching Astro 101 Beginner's Astrology. We are in the process of packaging that, getting ready to put it on my website. So if you missed it, you didn't get a chance to learn Beginner's Astrology, don't worry. We're going to have that in a couple of weeks' time. You'll be able to purchase that and take the course at home at your own speed. But if you sign up for my newsletter, you can get insight into when my new when my new tarot course is coming out. So I'm going to have a beginner's tarot course coming out in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. I'm working on it now so I can start teaching you guys how to read tarot intuitively the way that I read the cards. Do consider watching also my podcast with the Peace Dealer, the Midheaven podcast. Check it out. We're going to do a video that's all on Mercury retrograde this week. So if you want more insight into the retrograde, you can take a look at that. Like I said, I'm working on your Chiron Venus conjunction video. So that's going to be the video that I'm going to talk about this week. All about healing the heart, where and why it's important to do our own self-work and how it's going to affect all of you guys, and some little snippets about Venus and Chiron together. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you guys have an awesome week ahead. Leave me a comment. Let me know. How are you feeling these energies already? Is the eclipse already kind of setting up? Are you feeling the Mercury retrograde shadow? And where is Jupiter going in your chart in Aries? Are you guys already starting to feel that energy? We're only going to have it for a couple months' time before it retrogrades back into Pisces. But I'm excited for this new energy. I think it's going to give us all a little bit of like a boost that we need. Anyway, you guys take care, enjoy your week, and I will see you all very soon.